Okay, we're learning Lilo Nishmas, Sivya Bas Yaakov Yitzchak, Neshama should have an Aliyah. Going back to the Mishnah and Daf Test, we spoke about Mida Keneged Mida by Shimshon, by Avshalom. We said by Miriam that the Toiva they waited 7 days rather than 1, and then it says the Yosef Zoicha Likvares Aviv. Yosef was Zoicha to bury his father. The Ein Ba'achiv Gadol Mimeno. No one was bigger in prestige than Yosef. Shneimar Vayal Yosef Likvares Aviv. Vayalu Imoy Gam Rechav Gam Parashim. We had chariots and cavalry, right? And Milon Yosef Shlenisasik Bayal Moshe. So who was more prestigious than Yosef? Was Moshe. Moshe Zochav Atzmas Yosef and Yisrael Gadol Mimeno. There's no one better than Moshe. Vayich Moshe Sasma Yosef Imoy. Mi Gadol Moshe Shlenisasik Bayal Hamakam Hakadosh Baruch Hu Shneimar Vayikra So Begai Lo Moshe Lebolvad Amru Elo Kol Tzadikim Shneimar V'Holach Lefanecha Tzidkecha Kavod Hashem Yasvecha. Okay, so we're going to discuss this evening. We're going to discuss Yosef and we're going to discuss Moshe. We'll discuss this evening Moshe and Yosef. So first, let's get to Yosef. Run Yud Gimel Amid Aleph. Yud Gimel Amid Aleph. We are by the second line by the 2 dots. Yosef Zoicha Maishna Meikori Dichsev. Initially, it says, right? Initially, it says, "Vayal Yosef Likvares Aviv." Yosef went up to bury his father. Vayalu Itoy Kol Avdei Paroi. It mentions Avdei Paroi. V'Choder and then V'Chol Beis Yosef Ve'echav Ubeis Aviv. So the order is Yosef, Mitzrayim, the brothers. U'Maishna LeBesoif at the end, when they're coming back, it says Vayoshav Yosef Mitzrayim Hu Ve'echav. Then V'Choder V'Chol Olam Itoy Likvar. So we have a change of positions of the brothers. Going to bury him, the brothers were last, and Mitzrayim were first. Coming back, the brothers were first, and then Mitzrayim. Right? What was the difference between the two? Amar Yochanan, B'tchila, initially when they went to bury Yaakov, Achlei Ro B'chvayna Shel Yisrael, they didn't see the chashivas of Yisrael. Like no ben covet, they weren't knowing what to give Yaakov's descendants covet. Ulv'soif Sharu B'covet. In the end, when they saw the honor that was given to Yaakov, no go ben covet, then the Mitzrayim gave covet to Bnei Yaakov. Dichsiv, where's the covet? It says Vayavo ad Gorin Atad. They came to Gorin Atad. Literally, Gorin is a threshing floor, Atad of thorns. Literally, a threshing floor of thorns. That's literally what it means. In other words, you don't thresh thorns. You don't thresh thorns. So what does it mean, Gorin Atad? So Amar Bavo, Malamed Shekifu Ksarim LaRoinish Yaakov. It says kings came and they placed their crowns around the Oren of Yaakov. Like a goyrin that they put thorns around, like barbed wire. In order to protect it from animals coming in, they would have these thorns around it. So this place, what happened was we're going to see in a second exactly what Maisa transpired. They had the Yaakov's coffin, and these kings came, they wanted to go ahead and cause trouble. They came and they when they saw the covet, right, they came as to be Toiveya, the covet of Esav. They came to fight against the Mitzrayim. And what happened is that they came and they saw that Yaakov's coffin was surrounded had the following. They all came, right? Tana, they all came for the purpose of going to war. Once they saw Yosef's crown, holy Yosef, suspended over Yaakov's coffin, and they all took off their crowns, and hung them around Yaakov's coffin like a lot. And you picture a crown with the spikes on it. So it was surrounded by these spiky crowns, like a goyrin otad, like a threshing floor surrounded by what? By thorns, right? Yaakov. Tana, there were 36. Rashi says the 36 were the 12 in the Siyam of Yishmael, and the 23 of Esav, and 23 in the Siyam of Esav. V'yispadu sham misped gadol b'kaved moed. They had a tremendous hesped for Yaakov Avinu. Hana afilu susim afilu chamorim. They even started braying and making noise. The cover of Yaakov. Once they got to Maras Machpelah, Asa Esav came along. Esav and come Akiv. He wanted to stop burying Yaakov. He wanted to say, "Listen, you took up your spot already. there's two spots over there, one for you, one for me. By burying Leah up there, you already took up your spot. Amalahen, Mamre Kiryat Arba Chevron. It says Mamre is Kiryat Arba. Why is it called the city of four? 4 people are buried there, right? Right. Amr Yitzchak Kiryat Arba. Arba Zugas, there are 4 couples there. Adam Chava, Avram Besara, Yitzchak Rivka, and Yaakov Leah. So Iu Karvel Leah B'didei. You right? You went ahead. You buried Leah in your spot. The Paishi did you, and that was left over is mine. So he wanted a taina to the everyone was there. You can't bury Yaakov there. Amulei Zevinte. They said you sold it. When you sold your bechira, right, for your pot of beans, you gave up this right. Amalahu. So he said to them, Nehida Zabina Bekerusa. Good, I sold my right. Bekerusa, I sold my firstborn right. Shitusa Zavina, but the fact that I have a chelik in the land, I didn't, and I have an equal right to this spot. So Amaloi in fact you did. It says what in the grave which I have karisi, which I bought for myself and Canaan. That's where you should bury me. So you see that Yaakov said, hey, the lashon of karisi means that I bought. En kira lashon of mechira. Kira is a lashon of mechira. She came b'krochei ayam in the bunda and the seas, in the cities of the seas. They called it that. So he said in Achinami, the Yaakov Avinu said he bought it. So Amalahu, so Yosef said if he bought it, Havali Yigarta, bring me the star that shows. So Amalei Yigarta ba'ara the Mitzrayim. The star is in Mitzrayim. Uman Nezel, so who should go? Nezel Naftali, let Naftali go. The Kolol Ki Ayalta, because the Ayoli is fast like a deer. As it says, the Chsiv we saw yesterday, Naftali Ayol Shlucha. Naftali is like a female deer. And Noisei in Meshefer, who delivers beautiful sayings. The play on words is what he's going to deliver the words of the star. Amr Vavo al Tikri Imre Shafer el Imre Sefer, the words of the Sefer, the words of the star. So Naftali is going to go back to Mitzrayim to get this. Now, can you imagine? Picture this. How long is it going to take Naftali to get to Mitzrayim? I don't care. He's the flesh. It's going to take a long time. It's going to take days. And you're going to leave Yaakov hanging around there for all these days? Now, Chushim braided Don had one child, and his child's name was Chushim. And Tom and Havi, he was what? He was there. The Yakira Le Udne, and he was heavy in his ears. That means he was what? He was deaf. So Amalahu, my high, and he didn't hear what's going on. So Amulei, they told him, come Achvi Hai, Esav is stopping us. So Adasi Naftali married him Mitzrayim until Naftali comes back. Amalahu, the Adasi Naftali married him Mitzrayim until Naftali comes back from Mitzrayim. Abi Ovi Mutal B'Zoyin, my grandfather's been lying around in B'Zoyin. Struck a kulpa, came along Chushim, and he took a kulpa, some type of club, and Machia Aresha, he hit Esav in his head, and he killed him. And Nasr Einai, Esav's eyeballs popped out, the Nafnu Akara the Yaakov, and they fell on Yaakov's feet. And Yaakov, who was dead, Paskinu Yaakov Leinei V'achich, he opened his eyes and he smiled. And the Chsiv, Yismach Tzadik Yichazan Nakam. The Tzadik's happy when he sees the Kama. Hom of Yerchatz B'dam Rasha. He'll bathe his feet in the blood of a Rasha. Voice of Shon is Kaim Nevuasa Shal Rivka, who said, the Chsiv Lama Eshkal Gam Shneicha Yom Echad. Why should I lose both of you on the same day? Right? That he the Afal Pi came to me Sasan Lo B'Yom Echad Have. Even though they died at different days, Kfuras B'Yom Echad. The Kfura was on the same day. So this is a very famous Gemara. It's a very famous Gemara that Chushim did it. Now there's a famous shtickle from Heshi's favorite sefer of Chaim Shmulevitz. You know what Chaim says on this, Harold? He says a very good thing. What does he say? He says that when a person starts listening to a taina, the longer you delay in acting upon it, the more you get used to the fact that it might be true, or you won't act. You won't be bezrizis. So Esav is saying this, and they're tining back. What was the advantage Chushim had? Chushim never heard Esav's taina. He just saw. He didn't hear what he was talking about, and he acted because he just saw and wasn't affected by the words, because he didn't get into any dialogue with Esav. He acted immediately upon it, and he killed Esav. So apparently over here it's Chushim that killed Esav. I will share with you another opinion. It's a Tosfos and Daf Nun Hey Amud Beis in Masechta Gittin. Here we are. Yehuda Baruge Milchama. B'Yushalmi b'Rishoina Gazru Gezerah al Yehuda. Initially, the Romans were Gezer Gezerah al Yehuda. If Yishem Messiris b'Yodam me'avoisam, they had a Messiah she Yehuda harag Esav, that Yehuda killed Esav. Dichsiv Yodcha b'Oyer Vayvecha. Okay, guys, let me take you back in time. The Masechta Ksubis. We said that a Sula gets married when what day she gets married on, right? She gets married on a Wednesday, right? Because because Yesh Tainus the Bezdin she'll come. You go to Bezdin, and we said that. However, in Yehuda, they made a gezerah that they would, in order to get married, you had to be boiled leheg and tchila. Now, why were they so tough on Yehuda? Is because of that reason. They were so tough on Yehuda. We saw because Yehuda, in fact, they hated Yehuda because Yehuda had killed their forefather Esav, and that's why it's brought down over here in this medrash. It says Yodcha b'oyer feivecha. Your yad is against the neck of your enemy. That means he killed Esav. The Tanya Nami b'sifri Yod of Rav Loi by Moshe Rabbeinu says Yod of Rav Loi b'shosh harges Esav. So we have a kasha over here. It's mashma Yehuda killed Esav and not Chushim. We say parakam the Sotah, what we're doing right now. Dama Chushim ben Don Shakal Kulpol Machio Resha. He took a club and he belted him on the head. The Esav the Nasru Eina, he lost his eyeballs. V'naflu Akroye the Yaakov Shema Loi Meis Boisa. Maybe he didn't die with the head Akah. Achama love Yehuda b'harga. Yehuda maybe finished the job. So maybe Yehuda finished the job. So you have Halukhi Deis as to what exactly who killed Esav. Either way, he's very much dead, and either way, he died dafka at that time. He died dafka at that time. That's the time he died. Okay, so either Hushim killed him, or Yehuda killed him. Now it says that Yosef is being oisik to bury his father. Now, and then he brought his father back. So the question is mashma Yosef is the only one who could bury his father? If Yosef wouldn't have done it, right? Having maski bay, would his brothers not have what? Buried Yaakov? Vaksiv, it says, Vayisu asay bon of Artsu Canaan. His sons carried him to the land of Canaan. So Amru, the brother said, Anichulo, let Yosef take the right. Let Yosef be in the forefront, because right? The covenant of Yaakov is better served in the hands of the Malchus than regular people. We're regular people, he's Malchus. Now, we spoke about Yosef, and let's speak about Moshe Rabbeinu. Milanu Gadol mi Yosef, who was bigger who was given much more honor than Yosef, was Moshe. Tan Rabbanan. Borei, Kama Chabibus mitzvah Moshe Rabbeinu. See how mitzvah Moshe loves mitzvahs. Shekol Yisrael kulnes rasku bebizui. Everyone was cleaning out Mitzrayim. Beinos loves Mitzrayim. Right? For Hunas Asik b'mitzvahs, and Moshe Rabbeinu was being goyis to the mitzvahs. Shenemar. It says Chacham Leiv Yikach mitzvahs. Chacham Leiv, he'll take mitzvahs. Uminayin hoyedeya Moshe Rabbeinu heichen Yosef cover. How did he know where he was buried? How did Yaakov know where Yosef was buried? Heichen Yosef cover. So Amru Serach bas Asher nishtayra me'osadar. Serach bas Asher is still alive in that generation. Serach bas Asher lived an incredibly long period of time. We had the Maisa guys with Yoav, Maisa with Yoav and Avshalom. She was alive at that time. She was alive at that time. Anyway, so Halach Moshe Etzla. Moshe went back to Serach. Amrullah, Klum at Yedas Hechen Yosef Kvar. Do you not know where Yosef is buried? So Amrullah, Orin Shal Matechas Asalam Mitzrayim. The Mitzrayim, they made a metal coffin. Ukavu bin Nilas Anar, and they threw in the river. Kadeshi is Baruch Meimav, that the water should be what? Gebenched. In other words, that in Mitzrayim, we know that there's no rainfall, the shvach, and the irrigation, they have irrigation systems, and when the Nilus rises up, it fills the irrigation systems, and that's how so they wanted to keep Yosef in Mitzrayim. So what do? They threw him in the river in a metal coffin. What does metal do? It sinks. So therefore, what? You wouldn't have any issue. This is a win-win. You get the bracha of Yosef being buried there and not leaving, and secondly, the bracha of the godless Yosef going ahead and sustaining the Nile. Halach Moshe v'amar al sfas Nilus. Moshe went. Amaloi Yosef. It's come the time that Kodesh Baruch Hu says I should go ahead and meet Goel you. And the time to fulfill the shvua that you made to Yisrael. So if you show yourself, then mutav, great. If not, we're clean from Yeshua. We don't know you anything. Immediately the Oren of Yosef went ahead and floated up. Right? How do you? Don't be amazed that the iron can float. Shari Ksiv, it says by Elisha, by Hio Echad Mapil HaKoira Vesabarzil Nafal Esamayim. One of Elisha's Talmidim, his axe, the iron axe, fell into the water, and he said, "Aha Adoni, who shall?" He goes, "That axe that I had, it's borrowed, and I have to pay it back." Where exactly did it fall? He showed him the place. He took a wood, and he threw the wood into the river. And the barzel floated up. Iron will float for what? For Elisha, if the Moshe Rabbeinu alachas kama, the iron will float. So this is one of the sources. There's another very famous source. So there's a source about in the Medrash, the following: the Medrash Tanchuma and Parshas Kisisa. This is what it says. There was Moshe was going in Mitzrayim, and he saw that Mitzrayim, they would bury babies in the bricks, live babies. They put them in the bricks. Awful, awful thing. And Moshe told HaKadosh Baruch Hu, like, and what's going on here? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'm removing the kaitzim from among you. These kids are not going to grow up to be good. And Moshe still afal pikain, and Moshe took out one of the children from the bricks. Now, I can imagine this child was very attached to Moshe, and this child followed Moshe around wherever he went. It says the Medrash, what animal was Yosef compared to? A shar, right? He was compared to a shar. He was compared. Yosef was compared to a shar. Moshe took the Shem HaMefarish on a piece of parchment, and he wrote on it Alei Shar, and he threw it into the river, and the shar rose up. Alei, it went up. He left it over there, and this person took it. This person's name was Micha, the lashon of mach. Mach means pressed, because he had been pressed in the bricks. And b'shas cheda egel, he took this and he threw it in the fire, and that's why the egel came out as a shar. That's why it came out as a shar. They say it could even talk. The egel of gold was even able to talk and graze and eat grass because it had the Shem HaMefarish in it. That's a very fascinating medrash as to how Moshe got the Atzmas Yosef out of the river. Okay, it's a whole different medrash than this Gemara. But that's more. I think it's more you do it than this Gemara. In fact, Rav Nosson says, "Bikarbartim shamalachim hayakov." He wasn't buried in the Nilus. He was buried in the burial places of the pharaohs. You know, in the what do they call the catacombs? No. They have a name for it, the catacombs. But you know, that's where they find these burial sites, right? They run these burial sites. So Halach Moshe v'Amar al Karbatim Shal Malachim Amar Yosef Hegia Eish Nishba Kodesh Baruch Hu Shani Goyel Eschem. It's time. He's taking us out. Hegia Shvua Shishbata Es Yisrael to fulfill the Shvua. Emat Tamara Atzmecha Motiv. If you show yourself great from love, Hariyana Menukim Mishvua we're clean. Boys, to show it happened. This Dazi Aaron Shal Yosef, one of the coffins began to move and shove. So Yosef, Moshe knew that was Yosef. Not the Moshe Avias. Moshe took it and brought it with him. All the years that Moshe was in the Midbar, these were two Aronis. Echad Shal Meis, one of Yaakov, Echad Shal Shechina, and one of the Shechina, the Aron that was in the Kodesh HaKodashim. So Mahachim says that they would travel together. What would they say? What is the nature of these two Aronis halalu? They would say, Echad Shal Meis, Echad Shal Shechina. V'chima darka Shal Meis la'alachem Shechina. A mace through the Shechina on the base. Amru, Chaim Zeh, Kol Mashakasa B'Zeh. This one filled everything that was said in here. But let's go back to the Amid Aleph. It's a very, very interesting Taistus over here. If you look at the top Taistus, in fact, the only Taistus on the page is they went to Serach Bas Asher. Of all the people Moshe wanted to know where he was buried, they went to what? To Serach Bas Asher. Says Taisvos, Tema Baloi Machir, V'Yor ben Menashe, both Machir ben Menashe and Yor ben Menashe, Nold ben Yaakov, they were buried in Yaakov. And they both came into Eretz Yisrael. And Lama Lo Shalom Moshe, when Moshe has them, why did he have to go to Serach Bas Asher? And they, in fact, would have been a Banim Shel Yosef. They would have been a Messiah. Serach was the son of Asher, was a child of Asher. But these were Menashe was a child of Yosef. Says the Gemara, Yeshlem Asher, Soid HaGeula Nimsa LeSerach. The Soid of Geula was given over to Serach. The Soid of Geula was given over to Serach. She's the one who had the Soid of Geula. And therefore, they went to her. The place with Shantz on the side says that she ran into him. In other words, Moshe was looking for somebody, and she just, it wasn't Dafka went to her, but he managed to go ahead and pugaba. He managed to go ahead and meet her. And as a result of meeting her, therefore, he asked. And that would answer the question why he didn't go to Machir or Yair, because he happened to run into Serach. Anyway, back onto the Yom base. So Kaim Zeh, Yosef is Mekayim Kol Shem V'Kosav B'Zeh. Says the Gemara, same question we asked by Yosef, Yosef by Moshe. If Moshe, there's a nice Rashi over here. There's a nice Rashi. Still, let's do the top Rashi. It's a nice Rashi. That Kaim Zeh Kol Kosav B'Zeh. So we have the Aseres Adibris kept in the Torah. Aseres Adibris is in the Torah, right? So we're going to go through the whole Aseres Adibris. That Moshe Rabbeinu had each one had a piece of the action, right? It says Agodazu Nifureshes b'Mechilta b'Parshas Vayi b'Shalach Paroi Ksiv b'Zeh. What does it say what does it say? V'Noichi. It says Noichi Hashem Elokecha Shesis Mitzrayim. Ksiv b'Zeh Atachas Elokim Anoichi. Am I right? So we see again Noichi Hashem Atachas Elokim. Right? Ksiv b'Zeh by Seres Adibris LaYilecha. Ksiv b'Zeh by it says by Yosef. Elokim ani Yareh. I fear Hashem. In other words, I don't have any other God. Leisisa Chai Paroi Zochar Shem Shabbos Atvuah Tavach V'Hochin. Go ahead and prepare, right? And why Vein Zeh Eliyom Shabbos? So you see that Yosef parallel. It says in the Mechilta beautifully parallel the Aseres Adibris. Literally, it was a Kaim Zeh Mashakasa B'Zeh. Okay, back in the Gemara. V'Lo Bein Moshe Yisrael lehavi masik bay with Bnei Yisrael not have dealt with him. Vaksiv, that's Atzmas Yosef asher helu Bnei Yisrael Mitzrayim kovru b'Shechem, and the Atzmas Yosef that he took out of Mitzrayim they buried in Shechem. So you see that it says Bnei Yisrael buried him, not Moshe. The Su Ilo Yasik Bei Yisrael. If Yisrael did not take care of him, one of lehavi masaskim bay, but Yosef's own children are taking care of him. But Ksiv Ayul Bnei Yosef l'Nachla that Yosef was buried, that Yosef was given to, it was a nachla, and obviously it was a nachla, his children would have taken care of it. So l'chayra, what does it mean that Moshe? So Amru, Haniach lo, let Yosef cover merubim Yosef and atim. It's better that a lot of people take care of him than a few people take care of him. So it's better than this is the answer why the Bnei Yisrael rather than his own nachla, his own people, his own family. The Su Amru, what about a lot of people versus Moshe? Haniach lo Yosef be taken care of by Moshe. It's better taken care of by a chashuv person like Moshe rather than a lower person. Kavru b'Shechem, Yosef's in Shechem. Maishna b'Shechem, why did Dafka bury in Shechem? They wouldn't know what's going on Bizman Hazeh. I wonder. Yosef is sorest. It's to get there, and there's always problems. The Shechem is like Gaza. Mamash Shechem you see is like Gaza. It's ongoing. Saras in Shechem. They're the worst Arabs are in Shechem. Really, very, very dangerous place. When the brothers, when they went ahead and they sold Yosef down the river, it was from Shechem. Well, Shechem nachse avedasa. In Shechem, they went ahead and they returned what they had sold. They returned his body to Shechem. Kasher Krayadon, we have a stira. It says, Vayikach Moshe says Atzma Yosef imoy. Moshe took the Atzmas Yosef with him. It says, "Ves Atzmas Yosef asher helu b'nei Yisrael." It says the Atzmas of Yosef that b'nei Yisrael. So who was it? Was it Moshe or was it b'nei Yisrael? So I'm Rav Chama Bar Chanina. Kol oisedav of legomer. Anyone who does something and doesn't complete it, ubo achav legomer. Someone else comes along and completes it. All of a kosav al shegemaroi. Kilu aso as if they did it. So Moshe took it out. But in Achanami, who finished the job? B'nei Yisrael, because Moshe never made it to Eretz Yisrael. So it's considered like they did the whole thing. Rebbe Lozo Aimer. Af my read them if a person starts something and doesn't finish it, it goes down may makam gedula. Where do you see that from? Yehuda. Yehuda went to save Yosef, but he didn't complete the job. He didn't save him. So since he didn't complete the job, he went down from his chsiv. It says Vahi Beisahi Vayeri Yehuda. After he failed to go ahead and stop his brothers from selling Yosef, right? What happened? It says Vayeri Yehuda. Yehuda went down. He went down Madregas. Not only we go down Madregas, he'll even bury his wife and children. Thomas Bashua Eshes Yehuda. Bashua, the wife of Yehuda, passed away. And his sons Ervoinan also they died. Again, of course, Yehuda didn't finish the job. Amrav Yehuda Amarav. Man Nikra Yosef at Samas B'chayev. Why was Yosef, when he was alive, why was it called Atzmas Yosef? In Yosef's lifetime, the pasuk says that it was called Atzmas Yosef. As you know, Pakad Yifgoy and Vehivesi Es Atzmoisai. You'll bring my bones. So why we call it bones this lifetime? Because when the brothers, when he had a chance to be Moich on the cover of Yaakov, he wasn't. The Karmalei, the brothers, when they were speaking to Yosef, when Yosef was the Mishnah Melech, and they know it was Yosef, they said, Avdecha Avinu, your servant, your father. They didn't say anything. In fact, in the Yehuda, when he's pleading in Pashas Vayigash, it says it 10 times. Yosef lost 10 years of his life. He was the first brother. He was supposed to live to 120. He lived to 110. Okay. Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, V'Tamer Rav Chama Rav Chana. Why did Yosef die before his brothers? Because he was, again, anyone who's involved the Rabbanis, who said in Pirkei Avos, it says you should stay away. And so the Gemara in Bracha in Pesachim says that when you have too much power, it goes ahead and kills you. Yosef Hura Mitzrayim. Yosef Lashon was brought down to Mitzrayim. Why did it say Lashon of Hurad? Amar Valaza Al Tikrei Hura. Don't bring down Elohayrid. He brought down Mitzrayim. Don't say Hurad is a pual. Pual is going on the person that he himself was brought down. But Hayrid, he brought down Mitzrayim. Shari, it's the Ninu Pari Migdulasline, because when he came down there, right, all the stargazers, the astrologers of Paro, they all lost about their positions because of Yosef. So therefore, he hired us Mitzrayim. He brought down what? He brought down Shahirid Tagnini Paro Migdulasline. He brought down the people of the stargazers, the astrologers from their positions. Another thing about Yosef, by Yekneu Poitifar Sris Paroi, Poitifar, the Sris of Paroi, bought him. So Amarav Shekonu La'atzmai. Potifar bought Yosef. Yosef was beautiful. He bought him for his nus, for himself. He was a Mishkav Zachinech, and he bought it for himself. But however, Ba Gavriel Upira, came Gavriel Upira. Rashi says he castrated him. I mean, Mikra Ksiv Poitifar. It says Poiti Pera. Pera is Lashon Pera, Peiresh Aleph, the Lashon of what? Of you losing it. Okay, now we spoke of Yosef, now we're going to go to Moshe. So we said, who was greater than Moshe? No one. And who's going to bury Moshe? Is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Milan Galam Moshe? No one. So who's HaKadosh Baruch Hu is busy with the burying Moshe. It says, Vayoyma Hashem Elai, Ravloch. Hashem said, Vayoyma Hashem Elai, Ravloch. It's right, it's enough. Don't stop talking to me about trying to get into Eretz Yisrael. It's not happening. Ravlach. Hashem was upset at Moshe. Amrab Levi, Birav Biser. Moshe used the Rav to go ahead and be Mavasar others. Ubirav Bisruhua. And Kodesh Baruch Hu used the word Rav to go ahead and lecture him. Birav Biser, where did we find Rav did it? By Koirach. When Koirach and Adosai, they complained, so what did Moshe say? Rav Lachem, is that not enough for you that you're Levium, you want the Kahun as well? So he said Rav Lachem. So Birav Bisruhu, Rav Lach. So it's mashma Moshe should not have said Rav Lachem. Guys, it's mashma Moshe should not have said it. It's not enough for you. Okay, we'll get back to this in a minute. L'chayra, what else was he supposed to say, right? Moshe did something wrong over here. Kodesh Baruch Hu was saying, this Lashon Rav Lachem is not a good thing. You went ahead and gave it to Koirach with a zog of Rav. I'm giving you a zog with Rav. Okay, I'm giving you that Lashon. Davar Acher, Rav Lach, what does it mean? Is it too much for you? Rav Yeshlach. Yeah, you have a Rav, meaning Yeshua's waiting. Umana Yeshua. It's time for him to take over, not you. Davar Acher, Rav Lach, is it too much for you? They shouldn't say Rav Kamakosha, how Chosh is the Rav HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Talmud Karmasov, how complaining is the Talmud Moshe. Why was the Kadosh Baruch Hu so strict in Moshe using the lashon of Rav? Talmud Rabbi Yishmael lefum gam l'shchana. According to the strength of the camel, you burden the camel. In other words, it's a euphemism that for a person who's really great, HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges them very great. Just like a strong camel, you can load on more and more. A person who's very great, HaKadosh Baruch Hu judges kuchut hasara. I spoke this out quite a few times. Basically, it says Breishis bara Elokim es Shemaim es Aretz. It doesn't say Breishis bara es Yud Kei Vav Kei. It says Elokim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to create the world of Midas Adin. He saw the world will not be able to exist in Din, and therefore he's Mishtatef Rachamim in Din. So the question is, Maral asks, so why do we have to know it? If the world never existed in Din, right? And the answer is because it does exist in Din. We're supposed to aspire for Din. Hashem just knew we won't be able to do it. However, Tzaddikim, they focus on the Midas Adin. They function on Midas Adin. That's why Rabbi Akiva died in Misa Mishuna, right? For whatever he did, he was on Midas Adin. So there, Moshe Rabbeinu, the biggest tzaddik of all time, all will be Midas Adin. So Rav Loch, why did he say too much? So again, from Chaim Shmulevitz, Karech was a Rasha. No question about it. Karech was a Rasha. He was a Rasha. But Moshe was a tzaddik. When you want something, even if you want it for ulterior motives, if it's something good can happen to it, you shouldn't cut the person down in such a way. In other words, good, he wanted the kahuna for his own gaiva. But there's a tzad to say that he wanted the kahuna to be closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to get closer to Hashem, a shifa. And Moshe, therefore, should not have said, Moshe shouldn't have said, it's not enough for you, what? The lashon, it's not enough for you. That lashon is a lashon of being mismayat, his desire to go get bigger, right? And as a result, that was the nidun against Moshe because of the midas hadin of Moshe, according to Rav Chaim. By Yomer Aleim says Moshe Rabbeinu to Klal Yisrael ben meya evesim shana nacheyam. I'm 120 years old today. Shein tamud leim hayoim. You don't have to say hayoim, right? Hayoim malu yamayu shnoisai. Today, does it meaning I'm 120 days and that's it. I'm filling my quota is up. That's it. Kadosh Baruch Hu is mashlim the years at tzaddikim. They live exact times. Month to month, day to day. The number of your days are filled. So Moshe, again, we said Moshe was born Zayin Adar, and Moshe died Zayin Adar, right? Moshe was born Zayin Adar. That's why Haman made a mistake, right? Haman said, "Oh, it's very, very good Adar. That's the month that Moshe died." But he didn't know it was what? It was also the month that Moshe was born. Okay. But Moshe says, I can't go out and come in. Mashma, if you take literally, he's 120 years old, he's ready for, he's ready to go. It's mashma physically, he couldn't do it. But you can't possibly say that for the following reasons. My lotzis for love. What do you mean he can't come in and out? Elam lotzis for love mamish, that mamish literally can't go in and out. Boksiv. Moshe ben Meir v'esim shana b'maisai. Moshe was 120 when he died. However, loinos leichai, his eyes had not dimmed, it said, and his what? And he hadn't lost his vitality. Uksiv bayal Moshe me'arvis Moav el Har Nevo. Moshe went up from the plains of Moab to Har Nevo. The Tanya Shteim Esrei Milos Hayishon. There were 12 steps. Upasan Moshe b'siyah achas. He jumped up in one. And once fell soup at the age of 120. So obviously, from the lashon of the pasuk and from the medrash, you can figure out that it wasn't a physical thing that Moshe was not the lotzis love come in and out. So Amar Rav Shmuel Nachmeni, Amar Rabbi Yonason, lotzis love b'divrei Torah. Meant he couldn't go ahead and go and deal with divrei Torah. Now it doesn't mean that he chas v'shalom lost his koyach Torah. It's that whatever ability he had to speak Torah at that time, I saw a pshat that he was minimized because he was saying too much that people couldn't understand. So he was able to minimize it, but he lost that ability. So he was too big. Moshe and Shua went, they stood in the Al Moyed Tana. That Shabbos was a Shabbos of two up here. One leader going in and one leader going out. Nitla Rishus Mizeh V'Nes Muzeh. The Rishus, The power was taken from Moshe and given over to Yeshua. Rabbi Yehuda. Ilmali mikrokosav, not for this pasuk. You couldn't possibly say it. Heichem Moshe makes. Where exactly did Moshe die? The Chelko shel Ruvain. It says in the Chelko Ruvain the Chsiv. Vayal Moshe me arbas moyev el harb nevoi. Moshe went up from arbas moyev to har nevoi. We just saw that. When nevoi bechelko shel Ruvain kaima, and nevoi was in the Chelko Ruvain the Chsiv. Ubnei Ruvain banoi ves nevoi. So you see what that. That was his child, right? That was his child. The Heichim Moshe cover, and where was Moshe buried? Where's Moshe buried? The Chelko shel God. He was buried in the Chelik of God. The Chsiv, by Yar Reishis Loi, and God saw the Reishis Loi for himself. Michelka, that what was special about that place? That Moshe was buried there. Now, so he died in the Chelik of Ruvain, and he was buried in the Chelik of God. We know that's very Yarden, correct? So how's it possible? How did he get, when he was dead, from Ruvain to God? Michelkas Ruvain al Chelkas shel God Kama is Arba Milim, is a distance spot of 4 Milim, right? It's over a mile and a half. Oisa Arba Milim mi Holicha. Who took him those Arba Milim? Malami Shoy Moshe Mutal Bekanfei Shrina. Moshe was Kadosh Baruch Hu took him. Malchei Asharis. The Malchei Asharis, they were going ahead and eulogizing him. Tzidkas Hashem also Mishpatavim Yisrael. He did the righteousness of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Mishpat for Yisrael. The HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, Mi Yakum Li Imareim. Who's going to rise up against the people who rise up against me? Mi Yisyatzu Li and Pali Oven. Who'll stand up against people who are Pali Oven? Shmuel said, Mi Ke Achacham Mi Yodei Peshadav. Who's a Chacham who knows the Pshar like Moshe. Rabbi Yochanan Amar. Where are you going to find Chachma? Rav Nachman Amar, Vayomesh Moshe, and Moshe died. Where did he die? He died in Moab. And Samalian Oimer, look at the place with Samalian Oimer, Pirish Rach, Istiami Malach, it's a Malach, Istiami Shem Chacham. So Samalian Oimer, Vayomesh Moshe, Safra Rabbi Yisrael, the great Sefer, the great scholar of Kal Yisrael. Tanya, Rebbe Lezer God Leimer, Shnei Masa Mil al Shnei Masa Mil, right? There was an area of 12 mil by 12 mil, Keneged Machane Yisrael, Baskal Mashmil Loimer. From that area, Baskal came out, Vayomis, and said, Vayomis Moshe Safra Yisrael, but Yesh Oimim, Loimes Moshe. And Moshe, in fact, did not die, whatever that means, right? Meaning he didn't like everybody else. It says, Vayhi Sham Im Hashem, by Matan Torah, was there 40 days and 40 nights. Ma'ala Haloin Oimed, Mishamesh, just like over there, Moshe stood and was Mishamesh. Afkan, so too, at the end of 20 years, I made a Mishamish, he was standing on Mishamish Kadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, we'll continue Bez Hashem tomorrow, more about the Tira of Moshe, the burial of Moshe. Thank you.